Gertrude Whitehead's diary, Anne, Brian, and Margaret's granny voyage to Australia, the 18th of August 1897-18th Jan 1898. It took 154 days, 22 weeks, or 5 months 1 day if you prefer, a lengthy time away at sea. Let's draw a parallel with the Jones voyage to Australia in 1967. Wednesday, August 18th, 97. Mother, Willie, Jeannie, and I joined the Port Stephens at Tyne Dock to go on our voyage to Australia with Father, Annie, Hilda, Bob and Uncle Bob coming to see us away. 6 p.m. We left Tyne DK, 6:45 p.m. Uncle, Annie, Bob and Hilda bid us goodbye and went on board the tugboat to go on shore. We then steamed away from Shields Bar and shortly afterwards we went to bed, thus ending our first day. Thursday, August 19th, 1897. This has been a fine day and we have enjoyed it very much, being on deck nearly all day. We passed Lowestoft at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and Dover at 11 o'clock at night. Passed lots of ships and steamers. At night had some music. Friday, August 20th. Father tells me we passed Dungeness at 1 o'clock this morning. It is a nasty day, strong headwind and sea very hazy. Passed the Isle of Wight at 1 o'clock this afternoon. All feeling a little poorly, we went to bed early. Saturday, August 21st. Strong headwind and heavy sea. Port Stephens tumbling and pitching about and made us all sick. Mother very poorly. We all remained downstairs. Passed Ashant ISLD. In the afternoon. Sunday, August 22nd. We are now in the Bay of Biscay and rolling and tumbling about. Mother confined to her room sick. Willie, Jeannie and I have been on deck most of the day. Monday, August 23rd. This is my 11th birthday and such a lovely day. We have got Mother on deck to get the air. We are now across the bay, having passed Cape Finisterre at breakfast time. We have all got splendid appetites with the exception of poor Mother. Jeannie is running about all over the ship. Tuesday, 24th August. Very fine weather. Saw nothing today but birds and salt water and a few steamers. Mother is all right now and we are playing at quoits and other things and are quite happy. Wednesday, August 25th. Lovely weather today but very hot, had to get our summer clothes on. Had my music lesson and played about the remainder of the day. Thursday, August 26th. We have a good fair wind today with high waves, but we are not sick at all. Friday, August 27th. We arrived at Las Palmas at 7 o'clock this morning to take coal in. We threw some pennies in the water and the boys from the shore dived down and got them. We bought a parrot from a boy and we hope to make it talk before we get home. We got plenty of fruit, grapes, peaches and bananas, which we enjoyed very much. We left Las Palmas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all very black with coal dust. We did not get on shore because there was not time to go to the town and it was too hot. We were up very early this morning, so we went to bed soon. Saturday, August 28th. We had a nice fair wind today and the Stephens went booming along. We played about the decks all day and had music at night. Sunday, August 29th. Fine weather but very hot. We are nearly roasted alive and have to sit under the awning all day. Had some hymns at night. Roast chickens and plum pudding for dinner and cakes for tea. Monday, August 30th. It is blowing a gale of wind today with heavy sea and the awning was blown all to pieces. Mother is sick and we all stayed downstairs, but it was a difficult job to keep Jeannie and Willie down. Tuesday, August 31st. Strong headwind. Stephens pitching about a good deal. Passed Cape Verde at noon. We have been on deck all day and saw the land and some steamers and a lot of birds. Wednesday, September 1st. This is Father's birthday and we had a large cake for tea. Fine day but big waves. Saw some flying fish and some porpoises, and at night the water was lovely phosphorus, it sparkled just like stars in the water. Music lesson in the morning and again at night. Thursday, September 2nd. This is Jeannie's birthday. Had chickens for dinner and cake for tea. Beautiful fine weather today. Mother making pajamas for Willie, which father helped to cut out. We take our salt water bath every morning now as the weather is very hot. Friday, September 3rd. Rainy weather in the morning but fine in the afternoon, only a little windy. Saw lots of flying fish today. Willie was dressed up as Father Neptune at night and looked very funny with his big belly and whiskers. Willie got his new pajamas on and was a proud man when he went to bed. Saturday, September 4th. Very fine weather today but a little windy. We saw a good many flying fish but nothing close. We have been playing at houses and other games during the day. We have just come down from the deck to get bathed and Willie made father laugh acting Bob Anderson. We had ducks for dinner and beef, tongue and fish for tea, which we all did justice to. Sunday, September 5th. Fine day but very quiet, nothing to do except read. Music and singing after tea and then to bed. Monday, September 6th. Very fine in the morning but raining at night. Cannot sit on deck as everything is overhead with coal dust and have therefore been obliged to play in the mess room. It is gradually getting cooler and is therefore much pleasanter. Tuesday, September 7th. Strong headwind with a nasty choppy sea, which father says is the usual weather experienced in the southeast trades. To make matters worse, the men are working the coal off the deck and everything is covered in coal dust and we are obliged to stay downstairs. Wednesday, September 8th. Very strong headwind with heavy sea. Ship pitching very heavily and taking seas on board. We can scarcely keep our feet the way the ship is tossing about. Mother has been washing clothes today, but it has been very difficult to work. Mother is now giving us a tune on the piano. We are going to have a game of cards and then to bed. Thursday, September 9th. Another day with strong headwind and big seas breaking over the ship. Mother has been washing clothes again today and has got them all ready for ironing. Friday, September 10th. Still very strong headwind and ship pitching fearfully. Mother has got her ironing done and is making me a dressing gown. Saturday, September 11th. Still rough weather. Mother finished my dressing gown, which is very comfortable and pretty. We had a sheep killed, also some fowls. We had a good bath and then to bed. Sunday, September 12th. Weather more moderate. Passed 2 sailing ships this afternoon, which was quite a treat as we have not seen any since 31 SD August. Saw 2 birds, one being a Cape pigeon and the other a molly hawk. We have had a musical evening and are now going to have supper and then to bed. Monday, September 13th. Weather finer. We passed another sailing ship. We then had a game of cards and then to bed. Tuesday, September 14th. Fine weather but very cold. We saw an albatross with wings about 6 feet long. Mother has made another pair of pajamas for Willie and is making Jeannie a dressing gown, and I am making a shirt for Jeannie. Wednesday, 15th September. Fine weather with strong sea, ship rolling about. Saw a one-knot of Cape pigeons and mollyhawks. Lessons from 10 o'clock till 11:30, then sewing and games until bedtime. Thursday, September 16th. Strong headwind and ship rolling a good DEA1. Great number of Cape pigeons flying about. They are very pretty birds with black and white striped wings and are very tame. We had lessons in the morning and sewing in the afternoon and cards at night. Friday, September 17th. Very fine weather today, but a strong swell causing the ship to roll a little. We were abreast of the Cape of Good Hope this morning, but were too far off to see it. Saw a lot of Cape pigeons and 2 albatrosses. Had a music lesson at night. Had a game of hide and seek. Father Jeannie and Willie are now having a game of cards and Mother and I are sewing. Saturday, September 18th. Fresh wind with heavy seas. Steamer rolling heavily and knocking us all about. Saw a sailing ship and a number of albatross and Cape pigeons. No lessons today being Saturday, we occupied our time by sewing, reading and games. Had our bath at night and after supper went to bed. Mother has just finished a leather key rack for Father. Sunday, September 19th. Light wind but still very strong sea. Ship lurching heavily. During a heavy lurch Mother rolled on the deck and we all had a good laugh at her. Mother has not got her sea legs yet, but Jeannie can go about like an old sailor in the heaviest of weathers. We saw a lot of birds today. Had music at night and then to bed. Monday, September 20th. During the night very heavy rain with heavy squalls, no sleep for anybody. During the day the weather moderated and we got a fair wind and sailed along more comfortably. A great number of birds following the ship today, amongst them being some very large albatross. We had lessons in the morning, sewing in the afternoon and cards at night, and we all had a good night's sleep. Tuesday, September 21st. Strong fair wind and heavy sea, some of them being like mountains, but the good ship Port Stevens glides over them one like a duck. It is too cold to get on deck today, so we are amusing ourselves in the cabin with our lessons, sewing and games. There are none of us sick even in the heaviest of weather, and we can always eat our meals with a hearty appetite. We are now in the Southern Ocean and Father tells me this is what they call running the easting down, that is we are running due east for Australia, lots of birds still following the ship. Mother is learning me to do a sampler. Heavy shower of hailstones at night. Wednesday, September 22nd. Moderate wind and showery weather, very cold. Had to light the cabin fire. Too cold to get on deck, so we did our sewing and lessons. Willie stayed away all amongst the sailors and had to do his lessons at night. Mother has a very bad headache. Had my music lesson and then went to bed. The fowls and sheep were all shifted under the bridge deck as they suffered from the cold. At night light fair wind and moderate sea. Thursday, September 23rd. Moderate fair wind with overcast sky and showery much warmer weather. Friday, September 24th. Fine morning but wet during the remainder of the day. Had a game of cards at night and then to bed. Saturday, September 25th. Heavy gale of wind right astern with mountainous sea, but considering the bad weather the ship is going along very dry. We are not able to get on deck much today. The birds still continue to follow the ship. Had a game of whist at night, then our bath and off to bed. The ship did 250 miles today. Sunday, September 26th. Moderate weather today but very cold. Ship steamed 240 miles today. We had hymns in the morning and night, also scripture lesson. Ducks and plum pudding for dinner. Monday, September 27th. Fresh wind and squally with rain and rough sea. Ship steamed 250 miles this day. I got my hair caught in the log line and had to have a piece cut out before we could stop the log. Tuesday, September 28th. Moderate wind and overcast, steamed 235 miles today. A great number of albatross about today, but very few Cape pigeons. Mother is washing today and being bitterly cold, we all stayed down below doing our lessons, sewing and playing games. Wednesday, September 29th. Light wind and fine weather today. Mother is ironing and I am finishing my sampler. Father says he expects we will reach Port Pirie in about 14 days. Thursday, September 30th. This day commences with dull rainy weather. At night it blew a gale with heavy sea and the ship rocked about very much. We did not get on deck at all today. We occupied our time by doing our lessons, sewing and games. Jeannie and Willie got dressed up as clowns at night and amused us very much. Friday, October 1st. Light wind but nasty cross sea. Ship still tumbling about a good deal. We were on deck a little today. And at night played cards. Saturday, October 2nd. Strong gale right astern with very heavy sea. Engines racing very much and shaking the ship terribly. We cannot get on deck today, so we are amusing ourselves in the cabin. Willie and Jeannie went on deck and received a cold saltwater bath as the ship happened to ship a sea just when they got on deck, which wet them to the skin and frightened them very much. At night, we had our usual bath and went to bed. Sunday, October 3rd. Strong wind and nasty sea with dull gloomy weather. We remained below and read scripture lessons in the morning and had hymns and music at night. We are all longing to reach Australia now as it is getting rather monotonous seeing the same things every day. Monday, October 4th. Strong fair wind and heavy sea with rain and overcast sky. The lamb was killed today. Lessons, sewing and cards at night. Tuesday, October 5th. Fresh fair wind and showery with rather rough sea. We were on deck a good deal today, the weather being much milder. We had lamb and green peas for dinner. Lessons in the morning, sewing in the afternoon and whist at night, and Mother and I gave Father a proper licking. We are now looking anxiously forward to seeing land once again as we have seen nothing since we passed Cape Verde. In a week more we should be at Port Pirie, all going well. Good suppers of homemade bread just like Mother's, and now I am off to bed. Wednesday, October 6th. Fresh fair wind and high sea and showery. Weather too cold to get on deck. Willie got his hair cut. In the morning we did our lessons, in the afternoon we did some sewing, and at night we had a circus entertainment, Willie and Jeannie being dressed up as clowns. Thursday, October 7th. Strong wind and heavy squalls with rain and high sea. Mother laid up with a very bad headache. We remained below all day and occupied our time with lessons, sewing and games. Friday, October 8th. Light wind and fine weather. We were on deck most of the day as the steward was painting the cabin. Mother's headache is better today. We had the swing quoits and other games. Saturday, October 9th. Light fair wind and fine weather with smooth sea. We are now crossing the Great Australian Bight. We passed the Barkimvico of Aberdeen at noon, who wished to be reported. Being Saturday we have no lessons, we are therefore enjoying ourselves with games and other things. Willie assisted in hoisting the flags to the bark. The weather is much milder and we can now do without a fire. Sunday, October 10th. Light wind and overcast sky with smooth sea. We had scripture lesson and then we wrote our letters home. In the evening we had hymns. Monday, October 11th. Calm all day, sea like a bit of glass. Sky overcast and showery. We have been busy all day cleaning the cabin ready for port. In the evening we had a game of whist and went to bed. Tuesday, October 12th. Light headwind, smooth sea and dull cloudy weather. We had our lessons in the morning and played about the remainder of the day. Everybody are busy getting the ship ready for port. Father says he expects to make the land tonight. Wednesday, October 3rd. Fine weather with smooth sea. Saw land all day and anchored at night. Thursday, October 14th. Arrived at Pirie this morning. Mother and I were standing in the poop in coming up the creek when the tug which was to have towed us up came astern and went bang into us, which gave us such a fright as she nearly capsized, and we had then to take another tug but got safe into berth at 10 a.m. There is a population of 5,000 people in Pirie. Friday, October 15th. Very dusty, windy and warm. We went to an entertainment at night, which was very good indeed. Professor Hertz was very clever with the cards and amused us very much. We had the Dr. and his wife on board this afternoon, also Captain Balchin of the SS Port Elliot. Sunday, October 17th. Being a lovely fine morning, Mother, Willie, Jeannie, and myself went to the Congregational Church also in the evening. Mother and I went again to the same church. There are a good many churches here. They are all very small buildings made of wood and corrugated iron. The singing was very good. Monday, October 18th. Very fine weather, but everything is in such a mess with coke dust. Mrs. Warren came down in the afternoon and invited us to go for a drive with her next day. Tuesday, October 19th. Very windy and dusty, had to stay down below nearly all day. We went for a drive in the afternoon with Mrs. Warren and her mother. At night, we went to an entertainment, Hudson's surprise party, which was very amusing. Wednesday, October 20th. Fine day. We went to Dr. Stewart's in the afternoon and they took us for a drive, which was very pleasant. Had a game of cards at night and then to bed. Thursday, October 21st. Very fine day. We went on shore to visit a lady, but she was not in, so we took a walk round the suburbs. Port Pirie is very flat country and sandy. The principal work is the Broken Hill Company factory, where they extract gold, silver, lead, zinc, etc. from the ore. Friday, October 22nd. Windy and dusty, remained on board all day. Had several ladies on board visiting Mother. Captain J. Redford of Blythe came on board to tea and spent the evening with us. Saturday, October 23rd. A beautiful day. Went on shore in the afternoon, did some shopping and came on board. Captain Redford came on board in the evening. We had our bath and off to bed. Sunday, October 24th. A most lovely day. Did not go to church as we had our letters. Willie went for a row with the officers to see a model yacht race. Went to church at night. Monday, October 25th. A lovely day. Mother Jeannie and I went visiting Willie, spending the day on board the Reliance, a four-masted sailing ship, having made chums with the chief officer who made him a model of a yacht. Paper adverts appeared on front page on Tuesday, October 26th. Another lovely day, but exceedingly hot. Willie, Jeannie and I was at a party this afternoon, which we thoroughly enjoyed. Coming back 10 o'clock, Jean being the chief attraction. Commenced loading sulfide ore this morning. Wednesday, October 27th. Very fine in the morning, but a little dusty in the afternoon. Mr. Warren took us and his family out a picnicking. He had his 2 carriages and drove us out to a small wood where the cloth was spread and a fire kindled. We then sat down and had a good meal. We had chicken, ham and egg pie, salad, claret and ices, scone, sponge cake, bread and butter, strawberries and cream, bananas, oranges, tomatoes and tea, and returned in the evening quite dark after enjoying a most pleasant outing. Thursday, October 28th. We finished our loading this afternoon and are now all ready to sail for Sydney in the morning tide. We were through the refinery today and saw the process of extracting the silver and other metals from the ore, which was very interesting. We had the postmaster and his wife down in the evening to say goodbye. The postmaster, Mr. Watson, comes from Newcastle on Tyne, and very nice people they are. Friday, October 29th. We left Port Pirie this morning at 5 o'clock in the good ship Port Stephens for Sydney. We felt it very much cooler after getting to sea. We had fine weather down the Spencer Gulf and entered the Investigator Strait at midnight, father being on deck the whole night. We felt the movement of the ship and went to bed early. SS Port Stephens 1894 Milburn line 3554 tons, hull 310 102853. 105.2 meters long, perpendicular to perpendicular, 345 feet, speed of 9 knots, specially designed for Australian coastal service. Saturday, October 30th. Fine weather but very heavy swell which caused the Stevens to roll about very much and we had great difficulty in keeping our legs. Still, we managed to get on deck and have a look at the South Australian coast, which reminded us very much of the coast about Blyth with its sand hills. We retired early as the ship was tumbling about so much. Sunday, October 31st. Strong fair wind with heavy sea, but the ship is going much steadier and steaming about 11 miles an hour. Father says we passed Portland at 4 o'clock this morning, this being the place where the first settlers landed in Australia, a monument being erected there in memory of their landing. Had hymns at night and then to bed. Saw a lot of porpoises. Monday, November 1st. Showery but able to get on deck between showers. Port Stephens doing splendid work today. She did 257 miles. We passed several steamers. Tuesday, November 2nd. Arrived at Sydney at 8 p.m. We saw Sydney at night with its beautiful lights and ferries running to and fro. Captain Sutherland, our harbour pilot, met us at the heads and took charge from Father and moored us in Neutral Bay. We came along the New South Wales coast very close in and saw some wonderful caves. The scenery was very nice. After an exciting day, we went to bed at 9 p.m. Wednesday, November 3rd. Went on shore. Met Mrs. Sutherland and drove through the principal streets and out into the suburbs, which was very fine indeed. Stayed all night at Mrs. Sutherland's where we had a most hearty reception. Thursday, November 4th. A lovely day. Mother and Mrs. Sutherland did some shopping. We children went to see the gardens where we had lunch and spent a pleasant day. Friday, November 5th. Had a good look at the shops. Some of them are very fine buildings and very large. In the afternoon a gentleman lent us his steam launch when Father and Captain Sutherland took us all round the harbour, which is the finest in the world. Landed us on Clark Island where we walked round and gathered most beautiful flowers. Again on board of the launch we went to Mossman's Bay, which is very fine. Landed 6 in the evening and all partook of a good dinner on board of Port Stephens. Saturday 6th. Left Sydney 9:30 for Newcastle where we passed some beautiful scenery. We crossed the Hawkesbury River, which is a most beautiful piece of scenery. Maggie met us and they were all so pleased to see us. Sunday 7th. Went out to Juramatta and spent the day with Captain Bird. The country there is beautiful. The oranges and lemons growing all around. He has a horse and trap, cow, pig and poultry. We got plenty of good milk to drink. Monday 8th. A very warm day. We all went to do some shopping and had a grand ride on the bus out into the suburbs. Had lunch in town, met Mrs. Brown at the station and joined Port Stephens. Sailed 6 p.m. for Geelong, Mrs. Brown going the trip with us. All the Sutherland family came down to see us off. Tuesday, November 9th. Very fine weather today. Mrs. Brown not very well. Passed Green Cape at 6 p.m. At night we all got dressed up and had a very jolly time. Wednesday, November 10th. Had fine weather all day, but at night it blew very hard, the wind being very hot. We passed Wilson's Promontory at 4 p.m, a very high piece of land. We passed that close you could have thrown a biscuit on shore. We also saw a most wonderful cave. In the evening we had games and music. Thursday 11th. At 2:50 a.m. we took the pilot on board at Port Phillip Head. It is blowing a perfect gale of wind at the time. 8 a.m. arrived at Geelong Pier. We went on shore in the morning to the botanical gardens and remained all day. The gardens were delightful, but the mosquitoes were very troublesome. At night we had a walk through the town and on our return to the ship had some music and off to bed as Father was very tired, having been up nearly all the way from Sydney. Friday, November 12th. Raining heavily all the morning but a little finer in the afternoon. Went to do some shopping in the afternoon, got our teas on shore and came back at 6 p.m. and then went for a walk with father. Saw a large funnel, there being over 60 carriages. Saturday, November 13th. Fine weather today. Went out for a walk in the afternoon. Agent and wife came down in the afternoon. Geelong is a very pretty place. Today is father and mother's anniversary of their wedding day, being 18 years married. Sunday, November 14th. Very fine weather. Went to church in the morning and to a children's anniversary in the afternoon. There were hundreds of visitors looking over the ship. We could not get one place to ourselves. The steward collected 18 among the visitors for the aged seaman's home in London. Monday 15th. Most beautiful day. Mother and I visited the agent and his wife. Such a beautiful house and grounds and most lovely flowers. Same day we went to see some very fine ferneries and came back to the ship laden with most lovely flowers. Tuesday, November 16th. Another hot day. We all went on shore when we met an old gentleman who came from Jesmond and who had been out here for 43 years. He took us for a drive to see a large wool factory, and again in the afternoon his daughter brought the carriage to the ship to take us for another drive. We went and had tea with him at his house. They all came to see us off. Anchored off Williamstown at night. Wednesday, November 17th. Raining in the morning but finer in the afternoon. Went up the river to Melbourne at early morning. We went on shore to have a look at the city. Melbourne is a very beautiful city with a number of splendid buildings and shops. Thursday, November 18th. Showery all day. Took the tram out to the Zoological Gardens, which is very extensive with a fine collection of beasts and birds. Did some shopping and came on board. Friday, November 19th. A lovely day. We took tram to South Beach, passing on our way the Government House, a large grammar school and many other places of interest. Came on board to tea when Mrs. Redford came and had tea with us. After we had a most dreadful storm, it was quite a sight to see. Had a little music and then father saw Mrs. Redford off in a cab. Saturday, November 20th. Fine day. Mrs. Brown left us today to go by steamer to Sydney. We left Melbourne at 4 p.m. for Portland. Sunday, November 21st. Strong headwind with heavy sea. Mother and I were both sick. Arrived at Portland tonight. We are anchored in the bay. Monday, November 22nd. Very squally. Father and Willie went on shore. Willie caught 2 large fish. Father took mother and we children on shore in the afternoon to spend the afternoon with the agent's wife, where we spent a delightful afternoon. Their house and grounds are most beautiful with a splendid tennis court. Came on board laden with most lovely flowers and strawberries and sailed 6 p.m. for Adelaide. Tuesday, November 23rd. Strong wind on the side and heavy sea, ship rolling a good deal. Saw a lot of albatross and other birds. Saw Cape Willoughby Lieutenant House at 8 p.m. Wednesday, November 24th. Arrived at Port Adelaide at 5 a.m. Mother Jeannie, Willie and I went up to the city in the afternoon, where we first went to a circus and then to the botanical gardens, which were very good indeed. We then went and had some tea and then we got the train and came down to the ship tired out. Thursday, November 25th. Very hot weather. We went to the city this morning, went to have a look at the shops and then we went to the Zoological Gardens, which people say are the first in the world. We then went to the museum, where there is a fine collection of stuffed birds, beasts and precious stones and other things. We then went back to the ship. Friday, November 26th. Very windy and rainy. We left Adelaide for home this morning at 8 o'clock, the ship being full of wool. At night it was stormy, so we went to bed early. Saturday, November 27th. Moderate wind with strong sea, ship rolling a good deal. Mother very poorly and remained in bed all day. We had several games and saw a number of very large albatross. At night, we had our bath and then to bed. Sunday, November 26th. A very fine day. We passed a steamer at 5 o'clock. We were on deck nearly all day. Had music at night and then off to bed. Monday, November 29th. Strong headwind with heavy sea. Had our lessons again. Tuesday, November 30th. Strong wind with big seas. Had our lessons in the morning and played about until bedtime. Wednesday, December 1st. Very windy. We passed Albany at 4 o'clock this morning and Cape Lewin at 10:30 p.m. This being the last Australian land we will see this voyage, and all going well the only land we will see until we reach the Gulf of Aden. We had cards at night and off to bed as the ship was rolling about a good deal. Thursday, December 2nd. Fine weather and fair wind. We are now ploughing our way across the Indian Ocean towards home. Had some games at night and then to bed. Friday, December 3rd. Light fair wind and fine weather. Had our lessons in the morning, sewing in the afternoon, and cards at night and then to bed. Saturday, December 4th. Moderate wind on the side, weather very hot. Had a game of cards, then our bath and then to bed. Sunday, December 5th. Moderate fair wind. Had our scripture lesson in the morning, reading in the afternoon, and music at night and then to bed.
Monday, December 6th. Light fair wind and overcast weather, getting warm. Lessons in the morning, sewing and reading in the afternoon, quoits and cards in the evening. A large number of flying fish were caught on the deck during the night, of which the firemen made their breakfast. Tuesday, December 7th. Moderate fair wind and cloudy with following sea. Had our lessons as usual in the morning and reading and games during the remainder of the day. No birds to be seen now, but a number of flying fish were caught after dark. We are now north of the sun. Wednesday, December 8th. Fresh wind and showery with strong sea. Nothing of any consequence transpired today. We passed our time in the usual way, lessons, reading, etc. Thursday, December 9th. Moderate fair wind and sea with fine weather, but rather hot. We had flying fish for breakfast. We spent the day as usual, had a game of whist at night and then to bed. Friday, December 1 off. Fair winds with heavy showers all day. We kept a lot of rainwater with which we all had a bath. It is very hot indeed. We have 9 sheep, 7 were killed on the passage, 3 geese, 1 turkey, which we are fattening up for Christmas, 14 ducks and 8 fowls, and we delight in gathering the eggs. Saturday, December 11th. Slight showers and very warm, sewing and reading, and then a game of cards, our bath, and then to bed. Sunday, December 12th. Scripture lessons in the morning, which were frightfully hot. Nearly all the crew sleeping on deck at night, and we could not get a cool spot, and the water is quite hot what we have to drink. Monday, December 13th. Another very hot day. Mother was washing today. The steward was painting Father's room. Tuesday, December 14th. Light headwind and hot weather, unable to sleep at night for the heat. Finished painting Father's room and bathroom. Wednesday, December 5th. Fresh headwind and lumpy sea with heavy showers of rain. Father and Mother very busy getting their room put in order again. Weather not quite so hot today, slept better. A lovely dove flew on board today. Thursday, December 6th. Strong headwind and sea and heavy rain, ship pitching. Father very poorly. Mother ironing. A very peculiar fish was found on the deck this morning, called a squid. Friday, December 17th. Fresh headwind and sea, but beautiful clear weather. The ship has had a very strong current against her for 3 days, which has stopped us a good deal. Mother has a very bad foot and walks with difficulty. We have passed the time away as usual with games, etc. Saturday, December 8th. Moderate wind and fine weather. Saw a number of flying fish and some large birds. Today, being Saturday, we were free from lessons. Had games during the day, a bath at night, and then to bed.
Sunday, December 19th. Light wind and very hot weather. Had scripture lesson in the morning and reading during the rest of the day. Monday, December 20th. Moderate wind with heavy showers of rain. Had to stay below most of the day. Passed a steamer at night bound the opposite way. Tuesday, December 2 LST. Moderate wind and fine weather. Lessons in the morning, sewing in the afternoon, and reading and games at night. Mother washed today. Wednesday, December 22nd. A very hot day. We have all been busy today painting and cleaning our room out, Willie and Jeannie being in their hobby with bare feet scrubbing the furniture on deck. Fresh wind and cloudy. Thursday, December 23rd. Moderate wind and fine weather. Finished cleaning our room and got back into it today. Friday, December 24th. 3 a.m. passed Cape Godefroy and entered the Gulf of Aden. Light wind and very hot weather. Saw several porpoises and birds today. Saturday, December 25th. Christmas Day. Had roast goose, plum pudding and mince pies for dinner. Passed Aden at 8 p.m. Willie and Jean got dressed up as Indians at night and amused everyone. We had Snapdragon and other games and spent a very pleasant Christmas day. Sunday, December 26th. Arrived at Perim at 7:30 a.m. cold and left again at 10:30 a.m. Perim is a very barren island in the Red Sea and used simply as a coaling station, the inhabitants being all Arabs and a very funny lot, they are, most of them having red hair. Past Mocha at 3 p.m. a Mohammedan town principally noted for its coffee. Past Abuel Islands at 9 p.m. Monday, December 27th. Light fair wind and fine weather. Past Jebel Tierra, a volcanic island, at 9 a.m. We also passed during the morning 2 mail boats, one from Australia and the other bound to Australia. Mother washing today. Tuesday, December 28th. Strong headwind and sea. Passed several steamers. Saw a large number of porpoises. Mother ironing today. Father made a coach for Jeannie. Played cards at night. Wednesday, December 29th. Strong headwind and sea, ship pitching heavily. We passed a number of steamers during the day. Weather is now getting much cooler. Thursday, December 30th. Moderate wind and fine weather. Passed a large troop ship at night, beautifully lighted up with the electric light. We also passed the Daedalus lighthouse at 9:21 p.m., it being on a small reef in the Red Sea. Friday, December 31st. In the morning strong headwind and sea, in the evening moderate wind. At noon passed the Brothers Islands. At 10 p.m. passed Shadwan Island at the entrance of the Gulf of Suez. Saturday, January 1 st.1893. Moderate wind and fine weather. At breakfast time we saw Mount Sinai, which is mentioned in the Bible. We anchored at Suez at 5:45 p.m., took the electric light on board and pilot, and entered the Suez Canal at 9:15 p.m. along with the mail boat and several other steamers. As it was late we could not see much of the canal. Tonight, we were in trouble by hearing of the death of our grandfather. Sunday, January 2nd. We were up early and had a look at the canal. There is not much to see but sand. Some of the stations had nice gardens. We saw several camels. Most of the canal officials live in houseboats moored to the side of the canal. We arrived at port said at noon, and after our dinners father took us on shore and we had a drive round the town, but we are not in love with it as it is a dirty place and the people are made up of all nationalities. We left port said for home at 6 p.m. after taking in 550 tons of coal. We saw a large troop ship at port said full of soldiers from home bound for India. Monday, January 3rd. Light wind and fine weather. We are now in the Mediterranean and the weather is very much colder. Tuesday, January 4th. Moderate headwind and showery. Mother has a very bad headache. We passed the time by sewing, reading, etc. Wednesday, January 5th. Fresh headwind and sea ship pitching a good deal. Passed the day reading, etc. Thursday, January 6th. Light wind and fine weather. Passed 2 steamers today. As it was delightfully fine, we spent nearly all the day on deck. Father says he expects to see Malta tomorrow morning. Friday, January 7th. Very light headwind, sea as smooth as glass. Passed Malta harbour at about 7:30 a.m. Saw a sailing ship and several steamer. Passed Pantelleria Island at 10:23 p.m. Saturday, January 8th. Moderate wind and cloudy. Passed the Dog Rocks at 1:20 a.m. One of the rocks standing perpendicular 250 feet high and looked just like a large ship under sail. This is on the coast of Tunis. We passed a number of steamers today, 2 of which were in Australia with us. Sunday, January 9th. Light wind and fine weather. We passed Cape Bengut at 9 p.m. The weather has been beautiful and warm today. Had scripture lesson. Monday, January 10th. We passed Algiers, a French coaling station, at 2 a.m. Had light wind and fine weather during the day, but at night it came away to blow strong, but as it was a fair wind, we did not mind it much. Tuesday, January 11th. Very strong fair wind with heavy sea. The steamers passing going the other way are having a hard time of it and taking the seas right over them. We passed Cape de Gata on the Spanish coast at 6:30 a.m. We will pass Gibraltar about midnight and we are sorry we will not have the opportunity of seeing it. We passed Gibraltar at 11:30 p.m. and met a very great number of steamers in the Straits. Wednesday, January 12th. Passed Cape Trafalgar at 4 a.m. fresh beam wind. Passed a perfect lane of steamers, they kept coming all day long. We passed Cape St. Vincent at 10:30 p.m. and met with a head sea which caused the ship to pitch a little. Thursday, January 3rd. We passed Lisbon at 11 a.m. We have had a beautiful day. Passed the Borlings at 4 p.m. Mother has been packing our clothes today as our voyage is drawing to a close. Friday, January 14th. Light variable winds and fine clear weather. Passed Cape Finisterre at 4:35 p.m. Also Cape Villano at 6:34 p.m. Saturday, January 15th. Fresh wind and cloudy weather with head sea. Sunday, January 16th. Light wing and hazy overcast. Passed Ushant at 2 p.m. Monday, January 17th. Light wind and hazy. Passed St. Catherine's Point at 12:30 p.m. Being a little hazy, we could not see much of it. Took the pilot on board at Dungeness. Past Dover, very foggy. Tuesday, January 18th. Arrived at Gravesend at 3:30 p.m. and made fast to the buoys. Father went on shore to telephone to the office. At 6 p.m. Father brought the pilot off. We unmoored and proceeded up the river and arrived off London Dock entrance at 8 p.m. Got into dock and moored at 10 p.m. So ended our voyage to Australia and back, which has been a very pleasant trip. We have steamed altogether about 27,000 miles including the coasting in Australia. After discharging the London cargo, the good ship Port Stevens goes on to Dunkirk and Antwerp with the balance of her cargo. We have bet the Port Elliot home which left Australia a week before us. Wednesday 19th Jan. Father has arranged for us to go home tomorrow. We have been to Stratford today doing some shopping and we are now all ready for our beds. Note: we passed outwards through the North Atlantic Ocean, South Atlantic Ocean and the Southern Ocean and on to the Pacific. Homewards we started from the Pacific, crossed the Indian Ocean up the Gulf of Aden and Red Sea, Gulf of Suez, Mediterranean, crossed the Bay of Biscay and up the English Channel and Thames and so finished our voyage.